Hello, world. This is Davite, and welcome to episode 2 of Vaura Cast. Today's episode is titled, You Live in a Cult. The United States of America is a cult. When it comes to etymology and language, that is how we gain a grasp again of our reality. When everything is energy and spelling, it is important to identify, root oppressors, and name them, much like I named names in the last episode of my podcast. This is how the tide turns. So when I say that you live in a cult that is called the United States of America, I more specifically mean that you live in a war cult. This is a cult centered around bloodshed and war. This is not a civilization. There's nothing civil about it. And when you start to look at it with this verbiage as a cult, it'll start to unfold and unveil before your very eyes. There is nothing civilized about what we let happen. One thing, about revolution is that it's going to look different than what was televised. Because when it seeps through, you're only getting a fraction of what actually happened in history. So I need you to I need you to bear with me when it comes to new ideas that I speak on here or things that you might not fully understand. I'm in a position and space where I'm going to speak on a frequency with few grounding points. A grounding point is something like relating a certain situation to another situation, like a celebrity. Like, oh, you remember when this, and this, or this cultural moment? That would be a grounding moment. So I'm asking you to bear with me because I'm going to have few of those. It's going to be more of a flow. America, the United States of America as a war cult. When you start looking at this, right, you start identifying things more precisely. The biggest change that we need to make as a people is to avoid using black and white duality terms. Black has been used to create a side, just like white has been created to create another side. But in truth, that is an illusion. There is no standing where black and white exist anymore in the future. I see people using black and white as a race thing, right? To see black and white as a race thing is divisive. Obviously, it seems, but it needs to be understood on all levels. When you identify somebody as white, you are making yourself black. And it doesn't matter where you come from. When you point and project white, that makes you black. When you project and point and see or say black, then it makes you white. Not here or here, but just there and there. I'll ground it. When it comes to speaking about white people, as an indigenous person, as somebody who has melanin, what you do there is project power. Whenever you identify a European as white, as an oppressor, you project power onto them that they now bestow upon you because of your decision to project it onto them. This is why they say slavery is a mindset, because you have spelled yourself into an existence where you project that power onto others. That's why they say silence is a virtue. So, back to identifying. When you see somebody who represents the nature of what you thought was white, you need to reconfigure and understand that that is a behavior of a cult member. And the thing about cult members is they look like anybody. And there is no heavier on this side, heavier on that side. None of that. Because there's a whole wide world. The United States is just a fraction of what there is. The United States is this accumulation of programs that you've been fed, beliefs, ideas that are being washed away. This land that we stand on is soon going to be flooded in with like-minded individuals. Those who could perceive and receive this frequency, that's what this land is going to hold on to. So, like I said, first step, identifying roots. Identifying root definitions. When you see something as an oppressor and you see that as white, no, that's cult member. That's cult behavior. Whenever you see something being celebrated by the upper class or the elite, no, what you're seeing is behavior celebrated by the cult. Let's break it down. What is an example of a behavior that would be celebrated by the cult? Singing degenerative spells upon your community. That's celebrated by the cult. Why? Because it degrades family and it degrades community, creating an individualistic dependency on the system, the beast system, which is the cult. We can even say it's the beast cult. So, Vaura caste, the reason why it's called caste is because Vaura definitively, remember we explained the phonetics and the etymology of Vaura. That energy, raw energy, is now reverse engineering the tech and system that used to oppress it to shed its light once again. So if you think about a mycelium or a mushroom that fractals out and creates a network. Imagine a network that was once so vast and intricate to constrain something being reversed to do the exact opposite. That is exactly what is happening to the cult and its cult members. They are being shut out, branch by branch. First, the smaller agents and entities, and then the big veins start being starved, and they start pumping in backwards. So every system and every agent and entity flips. This is not a warning. This is reality. And if you're seeing this, it's not to inform you. It's really to announce It is time. I said in the previous episode, to put it into perspective, grounding moment. How are we going to see this in our day-to-day lives? You'll see it in your best friend. You'll see it in your coworker. There's something that will change within them. With that, it'll change within you. And it compounds exponentially because you start speaking the reality that you want to see with the people around you, and it buzzes and the frequency raises. Bing, 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 boom, boom, boom. It's going to bounce around, and it's going to bounce around as much as it needs to and hit the weaker links, the ones who aren't ready for this, holding this energy because of trauma. And remember, we don't go anywhere until those people are uplifted. Patience, I would say, is going to be key to this shift. Be patient. It isn't going to just appear. It might. Who knows? Depends on your environment. But when you don't see it coming, patience. Now, I kind of want to get into specific topics again. Identifying so that we can unspell, deprogram, DVTE, deployable vibrational tuning environment, which is also a deprogram. How do we identify what holds power over us? Always feeling. One thing I like to say, intuition has an intelligence beyond anything you could ever think. Remember that. You can't structure and create systems anywhere near than your intuitive intelligence, because intuitive intelligence has been building systems for eons. I can't even put it into a linear frame. You're drawing from a source beyond physical perception. And so a lot of the times you're going to be, competing with your heart because you want it in a logical frame. But really what you want is to be able to frame it in a way that makes you feel comfortable in the present moment. Things aren't supposed to be comfortable. You want to be and fall into that faith. You want to let your heart lead, and your mind will synchronize behind it. When your mind is ahead, that's when you trip, right? Because your heart is already. And real quick, when you think about Catholicism and Christianity and signs and symbols, sign of the cross is ritualistic, cutting your mind from your heart. Dispel. It's important to identify our oppressors, right? Those who take power from us. One, religion. No ifs, ands, or buts whatsoever. I hear that they're building a mega church in my hometown. Do better. Do better. And if you're hearing this and you know where I'm from, speak against that. Dispel that. We don't need that. We don't need people cosplaying the Christ, cosplaying raw. Real raw is in the homeless man that you refuse to look at. That's raw. You look in his eyes and he's going to tell you the word. The word has no brand. The word has no house. The word finds its way through the people, here, there. You'll never know. So whenever you have establishments embedding themselves within communities, claiming that they have the word, that's a parasitic beast system entity. Identify it, dispel, and then be patient with the people who still subscribe to it to help them dispel it. People aren't going to see right away. And maybe you need to be more intentional with who you're dispelling, who you're helping dispel. Because if you're able to position yourself where you can have a solid, grounded, loving conversation with somebody of leadership in that establishment, that system flips. That church flips. Now it's raw. The path to the Most High is paved with humility. You can't reach a higher space if you're holding on to identities. People say ego death. No, it's not really ego death. It's identity. Identifying what is identity. And letting go of it for the sake of transmitting a higher message. Because once you start putting identity into things, you start sinking into perspectives that don't really resonate. Now it's tribal, now it's local. Now you're speaking to your day one, now you're speaking to your dead homies. That's identity. That's survival, which is a part of this experience. But when it comes to revolution, we got to put identity second to humility. Because there's a lot of things that we need to let go in order to be in this new reality. With that, I remember now, I want to go into this flag. Because one, this flag of the United States is not something that I give my energy to. Hence why I put the Vaura signal, logo, sigil onto it. It marks a transition. This isn't the flag of the nation that I want to build, which is what we're building, by the way, a new nation. This isn't the flag of that. No, this is the flag of transition. It's showing you, hey, this is what is being left behind, and this is the sigil that we're going to empower. This is the signal and the symbol that we are going to empower to make that revolution. If you're receiving this, empower the movement. You can do that by empowering the symbol. You can do that by wearing the symbol. www.vaura.world. Take a stand. Wear the t-shirt. An indirect way, but still direct way, because I still have an identity. I'm still a human, sovereign entity from this movement. Support El Uprising, which is my movement that I directly empower raw and the symbol. My entire artistry, Davite, empowers this symbol. Because I want to serve. Of course, there is identity within my music, things that I am working through personally. Maybe people within my people out there are going to resonate with that, but some people are not, because at the end of the day, it's subjective and it's music. So that's why I say it's an indirect way to support the movement. A direct way to support the movement is wear the symbol. Indirect way, if you want to understand me as a person who's conducting this movement, you can listen to my music. You can listen to For Elamin's music, which is like my guy. Like that's bro. Like he's co-founder of the movement. So yeah, I'm gonna plug in. He's gonna plug in to help others understand the source and how to get to the source. I don't think there's really much to say other than that. No more calling people black or white. First of all, when you portray and proclaim black, some classify black as a legal status. So you need to understand that certain systems and agents uphold this identity of black and black pride as something to carry and hold. But in reality, you're taking programming from an agent of the beast system that wants to spell you into spelling their reality, where you identify as a color. When in reality, your true being is raw, is sun, is Allah, is God energy, God mind. I wrestle with the word God. I say the word God only to help translate what I'm speaking on. I am fully devoted to Allah. But for the sake of speaking to the American people, I say God, Allah intertwined. Eventually, maybe we'll come to a understanding of where true power and breath comes from. But for now, God mind. To call yourself white, to call yourself black, you put yourself as a piece on a checkered board. If you want to be a piece, so be it. But if you want to be a game maker, if you want to be more than a piece in someone's game, stop identifying with their divisive verbiage. If you're melanated and you're dark, that's what you are, melanated and dark and brown. Get specific. If you're from West Africa, you're West African and you're melanated, indigenous. Learn about your DNA. Learn about your temple. Because this is what this is. A temple of transmission. You either fill it in with the beast system or you fast, remove it, become an instrument of Ra, Allah. That's another thing. When you're eating processed foods, when you're eating fast foods, ones and zeros, ins and outs. What you're putting in is what you're going to spell out. That's why Kai Cenat has a deal with McDonald's. That's why Travis Scott has a deal with McDonald's. It's right in front of you. Just blow it away. It takes that much energy. It's here. Change the words you say. That's why I appreciate Frosty's movement. Frosty is an artist I respect within the community. He has a movement called Use Your Words. Use your words correctly. Because, yes, you are that powerful. You are that powerful. And I slip into yes, you are that powerful. Like, yes, honey, you are, yes. Because that's a kind of tone and cadence that you would kind of brush off, like, shut up, auntie, or shut up, tia, like, or like, nah, maybe you don't say shut up to your tia, but like, you're like, I know, I know. No, you don't know. You don't know how powerful you are. That's why we have the United States of America right now. Because if you knew how powerful, you wouldn't waste your time going to vote for black or white, left or right, red or blue. If you knew how powerful you were, you're not going to move your body into your vehicle, spend gas to do these things. No, honey, you don't know how powerful you are. It's time to take the power back. And when we take our power back, the beautiful thing is it's a win-win. What is power to begin with? I think really what I'm speaking of is the perception of power, of control. True power doesn't come from control. So here is a moment where I'm identifying. I'm identifying the root. Power, I'm talking about power, power, power. We already have power, true power, raw, Allah. Power is being able to let go. So I'm identifying people of power, really people who have control, who need control. Like a boy needs his binky. He needs to have it. He doesn't know why, but if he cries, he can control his mama to get him what he thinks he needs. So let's take and use our power to take back control. There we go. That. You see here, me recalibrating in front of you. This is how. This is revolution. And I'm going to be wrapping up here soon. There's no AC here. I'm starting to sweat up a little bit. I need a sip of water. Today's sponsor, water, with a little bit of salt. Spring water. That's another thing I need to speak into my direct community. We're not looking for sponsors right now. We're looking for alignment. Once the sponsors are aligned, then let the sponsors come to us. Okay? Another thing I need to say directly to my community is we do not care who you work with, because unknowingly you have been empowering beast system agents. There's a lot of power in being a director and being able to wield tools like a camera, a microphone. Hey, when you are posting things that you think are helping your career because you're working with somebody of status, no. You're helping your need for validation. That's it. If you're a DJ and you go to play something that you think is gonna hit, you're feeding your need for validation. Because what you need to do is read the name on the song, and you need to research that person and see who they serve, who they give their power to. Because when you press play, you're an agent. And back to what I was saying last episode, that's why you'll have artists go crazy, thinking the whole world is against them. that there's secret agents amongst us. That's because when you press play, you are an agent. When you choose to not repost truth and raw energy, you become an agent of the beast system. When you choose to silence or be silent on things, you become an agent. There is no innocence here in the States. Nobody is innocent of the blood that is shed on the east side. I know religious establishments like to talk about the blood of Christ, the blood of Jesus Christ. You need to focus on the blood that our boots have spilled. The blood you have spilled because you choose to be an agent. You choose to not say anything. You choose to play a song that spells us into a war cult. Wake up. And one of the most important things I need to say right now to my Christian listeners and to anybody listening. When we talk about Christ and an age of Christ, Allah, Christos, these are all elements of the same radiant energy that creates paradise. Jesus Christ is not. Jesus is but one man and one of many Christs. There are many Christs among us now, except you have been in an illusion. Christ is in that homeless man. Christ comes to you when you don't eat for 3 to 4, 5, 6, 7 days. That's where you're going to hear the word. Jesus Christ is an externalized structure that has been created so that you externalize Christ. Christ, they say, is within you. Yes. You are Christ. You can become a Christ. Christ is literally within all of us. So when you say, thank you, Jesus, that's an externalization. And you're giving your power away to a historic figure. When you say, thank you, Christ, you're giving this message. Doesn't need fluff. You need to identify what you're giving power to within your prayers as well. I say, at first, throw it all out. Then work it back in. To create just one story is a system of control through the Vatican. Hey man, things aren't that simple. And, it comes down to, okay, if you don't want to think about it, that's where they get you. That's where they take you and decide to spell you into spelling their reality. They, as in people who are malnourished of love and need control. And in this ultimately here, me putting things together, at first was precisely that, needing control, feeling malnourished of love, wanting to desperately figure it out and put it together. And guess what? It didn't. It didn't come together. And you know when it came together? When I just let it go. So, what we're letting go is the past. We're in a transition. This is a revolution. Viva, Vaura. If it's not revolution, it's nonsense.